Okay, so get this. Today, we're diving deep into motivation. Like, really deep.
Sounds intriguing.
It is, right. And, we've got this awesome mix of sources to work with. We've got academic papers, encyclopedia entries, and even some real-world case studies of how companies are, like, putting all this motivation stuff into practice.
Oh, wow. So we're not just talking theory here.
Nope, not at all. We're going to figure out what motivation actually
Yeah.
is, how it's changing, and most importantly, how we can use it to, make our lives better.
I'm already hooked. So where do we start?
Well, I think a good place to start is with, that age-old question. Why do we do the things we do? Like, what really gets us going?
Yeah, that's the core of it, isn't it? What
Yeah.
drives us.
Right. And I feel like everyone kind of starts with that basic question, right? Like,
Yeah.
am I doing this because I genuinely love it, or am I doing it because I have to?
Right.
Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Classic dichotomy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I spend hours and hours messing around with music software, just for fun. It's like purely intrinsic motivation. But, well, I also, got to show up to work for that paycheck.
That's definitely extrinsic. It's a great starting point thinking about those two poles. But the sources you gave me actually go way beyond that simple division.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, one of the most influential frameworks we see popping up is this thing called self-determination theory.
Okay, self-determination theory.
It was developed by Deci and Ryan back in 1985.
Okay, 1985. That's pretty old school. What makes this theory still relevant today?
You know what's amazing? It's how well it's held up over time. The core idea is that basically our well-being, and our motivation are really deeply connected to fulfilling these three fundamental psychological needs:
Three needs. Okay, I'm listening.
autonomy, competence, and relatedness. It's almost like a checklist you can apply to any part of your life.
Okay, I like that. A checklist. Love checklists.
Yeah.
So autonomy is, feeling like you're in control, right? Like you have control over your actions.
Exactly.
Competence is feeling like you can actually succeed at something. And relatedness, that's that sense of connection with others.
You got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
But how does this actually play out in the real world? Not just in, a psychology textbook.
Well, one of your sources actually talks about how the workplace is a prime example of where these needs can either be totally met or totally ignored.
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it. What fosters autonomy in one job, might feel super controlling in another.
Yeah, that's true.
Does your current work environment give you a say in, how you approach your tasks? Like, do you have any control over it? Does it give you opportunities to learn and grow, to really feel that sense of competence?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And what about the social aspect, that feeling of belonging, of connecting with your colleagues?
That's such a good point. It's not just about having a fun job, right?
Yeah,
It's about feeling empowered and valued in what you do.
exactly.
And speaking of the workplace, some of these sources also mention this thing called Motivation 3.0. What's that all about?
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting one. It's basically like a shift in how we think about motivating people, especially in a work setting. It moves away from that old, carrot and stick approach,
Okay.
and it really focuses on tapping into people's those intrinsic drives.
So instead of rewards and punishments?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about giving them more autonomy, letting them master their skills, and helping them find a sense of purpose in their work.
So it's like companies are finally understanding that people are like way more motivated when they have control over their work, when they can like really get good at what they do, and when they feel like their work actually matters.
That's the gist of it. And there are some really fascinating examples of this in action. One of the companies mentioned in your sources actually restructured its entire workflow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they gave employees more ownership of their projects. And you know what happened? Morale went up and productivity skyrocketed. It shows that this isn't just some, fluffy feel-good theory. It can actually have real-world results.
That's pretty amazing. So it seems like we've come a long way, from that basic intrinsic versus extrinsic model. Like we now have a much deeper understanding of what really motivates people.
Yeah, we've definitely moved beyond those simple explanations. The big takeaway here is that motivation isn't one size fits all. It's this really complex interplay of our internal needs, those external factors, and, the context of our lives.
It's complicated.
It is. But the more we understand about what motivates us, the better we can design our lives, find work that, really resonates with us, and maybe even inspire others along the way.
I love that. So to leave our listeners with like a final thought, If companies are, seeing such amazing results from tapping into intrinsic motivation, what would happen if, like, we applied that same thinking to our personal lives?
Interesting question.
Could focusing on, autonomy, mastery, and purpose actually lead to a more, like, fulfilled and successful life in general?
That's definitely something to think about.
It is. It's a question worth pondering, as you continue to explore this topic. So keep thinking, keep exploring, and we'll see you in our next deep dive.
See you then.